How many of you guys enjoy Disney products? I enjoy a lot of Marvel movies. I enjoy some Disney movies. Some of their shows are pretty good. You know, Star Wars is kind of in the shitter right now, but some of their products is pretty good as well. Or what about Hulu or ESPN? You guys enjoy those content on there too? Well, did you guys know by watching their content, Disney could take your firstborn child and slaughter them in front of you? I'm just playing. Disney cannot do that. I don't think any kind of big corporation can really do that. At least not yet. What they can do, however, is be partially responsible for the death of your loved one and then try to avoid all accountability in any opportunity of them being held accountable whatsoever. Recently, a widowed husband is currently in the process of suing Disney for the unwrongful death of his wife. Now, for more background as to what had happened, before his wife died, they went to a restaurant that was on property of Disney. Essentially, Disney owned the land where the restaurant was on, and Disney would pretty much promote this restaurant in all other stores or restaurants and places there was within that land. It wasn't Disneyland. It wasn't some other place. It was just a place owned by Disney. It was all named after Disney something. And pretty much the couple, or the husband more like it, found out about this restaurant and wanted to take his wife and his mother-in-law there. So he looked up the restaurant on the website and found out that the restaurant was very good at accommodating individuals or their customers. This was a good thing for the husband because his wife had a very severe allergy to, I believe it was nut and dairy. So they decided to choose this restaurant. Now keep in mind, this was a Disney owned website that was promoting this restaurant to be a very accommodating restaurant for those who have allergies to certain food types. So the couple go there. They told the waiter who attended them that my wife has an allergy to these type of foods. Can you please tell the chef to keep these foods out of the food? The waiter said, of course we can do that. The waiter goes tells the chef. The chef is like, okay. The waiter comes back and tells the couple, hey, we told the chef and they understand. So the husband again pretty much pushes it. Okay, just make sure there's no allergen within the food. So the chef makes up the food. The waiter brings the food out to the couple. Or the couple then asks the waiter again, are you sure there's no allergen within the food? The waiter says, we are sure there was no allergen within the food. So then what happens? They eat the food and in a few hours, the wife dies. That's it. Yeah. So it's a pretty clear cut case, right? So what's the issue? Well, the issue here is that the husband at the time was having issues taking this to court against Disney. See, when the husband tried to take this to court to Disney, the lawsuit essentially got thrown out because it had to be taken to a third party arbitration. How the fuck do you say it? A third party arbitration. Now keep in mind, I don't know much about law. I'm not a law student. I had never gotten anywhere near that stuff. So take everything I say with a grain of salt from here on out, according to the law. But a third party arbitration essentially is somebody that is a third party individual that is chosen to conclude a dispute between two parties. Now this person is chosen between both parties. So that's be chosen between the widowed husband and Disney. Now I don't know about you guys, but it's just one man in a $1 billion company having to choose the perfect person to decide this case or settle the situation. To me, that seems a little bit unfair. In my opinion, there's going to be obvious levels of advantage or disadvantage when it comes to choosing a third party individual. But regardless, the guy was obviously outraged by the fact that he can't take Disney to court over the death of his wife. Now you're probably wondering, how did Disney get away with something like this? Did the guy sign a contract that he was not really understanding? Well, he did sign something, and turns out it was back in 2019. You see, this is going to sound ridiculous, but the widowed husband signed up for a free trial of Disney Plus back in 2019. And that's essentially is what allowed Disney to throw this whole case out. Disney argues that essentially the guy accepted the terms of service of Disney Plus, which allowed them to not be able to take any kind of dispute to court. Instead, it had to go to a third-party arbitration. I can never say that fucking word right. Which is pretty fucking crazy, right? And this is not the only case, too. Apparently, the guy also bought online tickets for, I think it was Disneyland or ECOP, and he never used these tickets. And on those terms of service, it was the same shit again. So Disney brought this up, that he, in his rightful mind, was signed a terms of service which allowed him to throw away his right to take them to court in order to sue them or to settle any dispute. Instead, disputes have to go to a third party. But this is an insane thing, right? There's no way Disney actually has a clause like that within their terms of service, right? Nope, it's right there under I think under number 8, binding arbitration and clause action waiver. You and Disney agree to resolve by binding individual arbitration as provided below all disputes, including or any related disputes involving the Walt Disney Company, its subsidiaries, and its affiliates, except for any claim within the jurisdiction of small claims court, consistent with the judicial and dollar limits that apply, as long as dispute include any claim, dispute action. Dispute includes any claim, dispute, action, or any other controversy, whether based on past, present, or future events, whether based in the contract, tort, statute, or common law between you and Disney concerning the Disney products, or this agreement, or this inclusive authority to resolve any dispute leading to the interpretation, applicability, and enforceability of these terms, or the formation of this contract, including without limitation the arbitrarily of any dispute and any claim that all or any part of this agreement is void or unavoidable. Essentially just saying that any kind of dispute that happens within Disney or its subsidiaries or its affiliates must be concluded or settled within a third-party arbitration. Now keep in mind, they do say affiliates, which the restaurant that the couple went to was an affiliate of Disney. So how is this widow going to fight a billion-dollar company? Well, fortunately, thanks to the kindness of Disney's hearts, they decided to withhold their right to a third-party arbiter in order to settle this dispute. Now, this is obviously due to the pressure and the public backlash that was happening on Disney. And there was a statement made by one of the head of Disney, essentially stating that at Disney, we strive to put humanity above all other considerations. We know that's a lie. If that's true, then I'm 100% to African descent. All right, like this shit straight off is a fucking lie. Let's not. It doesn't even get. It gets worse. It gets worse. Hold on. With such unique circumstances as the ones in this case, we believe this situation warrants a sensitive approach to expedite a resolution for the family who have experienced such a painful loss. As such, we decide to waive our right to arbitration and have the matter proceeded in court. This is such a unique thing to say. With such unique circumstances as the ones in this case. Now, the reason why I find that very interesting is because ignoring the fact that they were getting public backlash for this, and is one of the reasons why they decided to withhold their right to a third-party arbiter, the fact that it's unique circumstances really kind of shows what Disney thinks about the fact that they have this clause within the terms of service. They don't care that they have this clause within the terms of service. They don't plan on getting rid of this clause in their terms of service. Hell, the photo I used earlier for that, I put in the fucking video, I got that this fucking morning of me recording this shit. This clause is still in that terms of service, which is fucking insane. Every time you go to Disneyland or one of its affiliates and then you end up getting injured due to a faulty machine or something, or just because of Disney's fault and negligence, you can't take them to court. You can't hold them accountable through the court of law. It has to be through a third-party person, which it has to be chosen between you and Disney. But let's be real here. There's going to be obvious disadvantages between choosing a third-party person to settle dispute when it's just a regular person in a billion-dollar company. Like, it's just, to me, that's insane. That's just fucking insane to me. Now, it turns out Disney is not the first company to do this kind of shit. Apparently, Airbnb and Walmart went through a similar situation where they had within their terms of service that they are not allowed to take them to court, but rather to a third-party arbiter, which is still pretty crazy. There's an argument to be held within the person who was trying to sue Airbnb and Walmart had the right to do so, or they were in the right or wrong. But I don't think that's very important. What I think is important is that a company is willing or has the ability to, instead of go to court to settle dispute, they have the ability to go to a third-party person instead. To me, I think that's really unfair and can really open up a lot of doors to disadvantages or being taken advantage by such a powerful entity. Now, fortunately, since Disney threw this whole right of theirs out, the widow and his lawyer are able to pretty much take Disney to court and try to recoup some sort of cost or something in order for the widow. And the lawyer of the widow came out stating several reasons as to why this kind of clause within the terms of service is just stupid and wouldn't really work. Now, the first reason the lawyer gives as to why such a claim in terms of service is stupid is that this guy, the widow, made this account in 2019, and keep in mind it was a free trial as well, which means that it was an account that wouldn't last long, probably at 1 month top, and he didn't renew it as well. He just let the subscription die out, which means that really we can argue that the terms of service in which it applies to the individual really only lasts 1 month. Another reason too that he gives is stating that Disney Plus, by their own acknowledgement, that they don't really provide any kind of hyperlink or reference to the terms of service stating that this could happen. And the third reason is that there's a contradictory between two different terms of services. One is Disney Plus terms of service, which has the whole third-party law into it. The other terms of service is from My Disney Experience. Within that terms of service, it states that any kind of disputes or lawsuits has to be taken to the Orange County within Florida, which automatically really contradicts the terms of service within Disney Plus. So it really goes up to the idea, well, what's it going to be, Disney? It either has to go to court or not. The third reason also goes more into the fourth reason as to why this whole shit is stupid and whatnot. Within the terms of service of My Disney Experience, it states that if there's any sort of contradiction between any other terms of service of Disney entities with My Disney Experience, then what happens is that My Disney Experience will pretty much overrule the terms of service or the dispute of any other Disney entity, essentially saying that My Disney Experience terms of service are what's going to be applicable since it's contradicting the Disney Plus terms of service. And the fifth reason is an obvious one, is that this is such an unreasonable fucking clause to have within your terms of service. I mean, think about it. Nobody ever reads terms of service. And one of the reasons why we don't read terms of service is because nobody wants to read a 70 fucking page document talking about how a company is able to fucking fuck you in the ass. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, I understand we should probably read it and understand what we're signing up for. But at the same time, if we want to do that, then companies should make this shit much more shorter, more readable, and also more easy to understand with all this fucking lawyer talk out. Like, I hate to be that guy, but this is literally a fucking reference to that one South Park episode where Kyle signs up for like an Apple terms of service shit and he agrees to the term of service, in which then the episode pretty much concludes him becoming a human centipede.
Apple and its subsidiaries may also, if necessary, sew yet another person's mouth onto your butthole, making you a being that shares one gastral tract. I'm gonna click on decline.
Cuttlefish and those perigos? Very well, I will eat the cuttlefish.
So that's pretty much all we have so far about the story of the guy who lost his wife due to the negligence of one of Disney's entities. If there's more major stuff that's going to happen, I'll probably update the video or pretty much create an updated video. I don't know. I feel like this is a pretty clear-cut case. The way I see it's going to happen is the guy's just going to settle for a certain amount of money that Disney's going to offer, and then that's about it. I don't think Disney is ever going to change the terms of service, because based off that one statement I read earlier, it feels like they're not really holding any kind of regret or kind of sorrow for the fact that they have this kind of clause within their terms of service. They just understand that the circumstances are unique. All I gotta say though is that maybe Johnny Silverhand wasn't wrong. I'm playing about that. I'm playing terrorism, bad. All right, terrorism's bad. I'm not promoting any kind of terrorism. All right, I'm not saying encouraging it. I know sometimes on the internet people take things a little too literally, but no, I'm not. That was a joke. That was a stupid joke. But I do think this brings up a good topic conversation about companies and what they're willing to do in order to make more profit or to stay on top. I just don't think we should allow companies to pretty much steamroll the regular person around as much as they want. I also don't think we should allow them to get away with whatever they want just because they can throw money at the problem. When you have a shit ton of money, you already are at an advantage at life, especially in a lot of disputes. So to me, it just seems a little weird that this is just happening. That Disney is allowed to pretty much take any kind of dispute to a third-party person that could be chosen between both parties, but Disney is probably going to take advantage of the fact that they are fucking rich compared to some fucking little person who understand fucking law at all. I believe that we should be able to keep companies in check and the people behind them in check. But the fact that this company and other companies are able to pretty much take it out of court to a third-party person instead, it's pretty scary. It should honestly have more eyes on it within the government and within the masses. Overall, I'm surprised that such a clause can actually exist within terms of service. I'm not really surprised by the fact that it's actually happening. It's fucking Disney after all. Disney rejected a father's wish to put Spider-Man on the tombstone of his own son because it was their character, their property, their merchandise that they didn't want to give away. Which is fucking crazy. It's a tombstone, dude. What the fuck? Or maybe the fact that Disneyland in Florida is essentially its own fucking state with its own law. But we're not gonna get into all that shit. That's a whole other spew of nonsense and story shit. Overall, I just think this is pretty crazy and I wanted to talk about it and give my opinion on it. But that's pretty much about it. See ya.
Y'all pulled up with me, I would've seen y'all niggas outside. But